Hi, I'm Pop Siegel, and welcome to my channel, where I show my personal martial art of Bagua Kuntao Silat. Today, I'm going to show you basic arm pulling. What that is the yin to our basic arm crashing. In arm crashing, we're doing an uncoiling and crashing through the arms of our opponent to do strikes, piercing, cutting, whipping, and other uncoiling movements to the opponent while crashing through their arm defenses or arm interferences in a particular way. Arm pulling is exactly the opposite, where we're coiling and taking that energy that the opponent is giving us and pulling them by maintaining our center and controlling their center through the arm. And as you can see, how you're going to do that is similar to how we did arm crashing. One step forward and off center, where make sure we can touch each other, and lead arm to lead arm is how you're going to start out. And to show you an idea, whole body, we're not going to move. The idea is we don't want to move, but we want to stay rooted and sunk, relaxed, and one person's going to be the striker and the other person's going to be the puller. Therefore, he's going to be the striker and I'm going to pull to show how this works. We'll swap up later. But initially, we're going to practice on lead arm to lead arm, then lead arm to rear arm, and lead arm to rear arm to rear arm, and later on we're just going to open this up to any arm, and one's going to be the striker and one's going to be the puller. This is not push hands. This is learning a particular skill of arm pulling. Like previously, it was a particular skill of arm crashing. Super fundamental movements are fundamental motions for what you're going to move into with bridge hands practice or chow chow. And this is the first time talking about it because you have to come this far before you get there, and I can reveal it to you so you know what you're doing. But arm pulling, as I said, is the yin to the arm crashing or yang movement. And to give you an idea, he strikes and I interfere, I make that contact, bridge, and then pull. And that's it. I want to make sure he's going to try to maintain control of his center, and I'm going to try to get control of his center by using simply a pulling movement. And how we do that is, I'm aware if I see the strike come, I can just pull immediately as soon as I make contact. But sometimes I might have to interfere and come up, and as you can see with overturning palm, redirect them while his energy is still moving forward, and then continue with that motion so I don't interfere. We don't block in Bagua Kuntao Silat, if you haven't noticed. At best, we redirect. We don't obstruct. We strike. We deflect. We do many things, but it's never power on power. And typically, we use our footwork and body movement to evade while we're executing our own techniques. However, sometimes you can't, and sometimes you're stuck in a way that you have to use interference techniques and serpentine movement to bypass, where you can strike them or you can take control of their center as you want to grapple them or engage them in another way. And if you don't want to strike them in some fashion, instead you want to take control of them in a grasping or pulling way. Pulling arms helps you do that, or arm pulling helps you do that. And this is the easiest, most basic way to learn this fundamental practice. So you can see more clearly, as I showed previously. Take a simple step forward, one foot in front of the other. He takes a simple step forward toward me, and we can make contact. We can make contact easily. And we're just going to use one person's a striker, one person is going to be the puller. When he makes a strike, pull him off balance. And so you can identify and learn how you can use our various palm movements to pull him off balance, take control of his center. When you see that center, the easiest way is to attack the joint. You can also do it if you pull the shoulder, except it's more difficult to control the torso unless you know how to bring weight into it, particularly on the joints where you have easy attachment points. And you can do it by outside, and I'm redirecting and coiling inward as I pull, or you can do it on the inside as he tries to pull in, as he tries to strike out, or or you can do that. That was a cutting motion, if you didn't notice. I grasped his bicep near between his elbow and his shoulder and simply started pulling and taking his movement and just finishing it out. And it looks strange. You'll see it like some other martial arts, But what you're doing is feeling that line of energy he's sending out and simply extending that with your coiling movement as you're pulling that arm and taking control of that arm and that center. And it's just brief. This is not something we're going to do it as a continued attachment and I'm going to try to break the arm or put it in a certain position to submit him. This is a transitional movement where I take control of the center briefly so that gives me the opportunity to inflict my will and the structure I desire for the next transition movement. This is a practice. This is going to prepare you for sparring and other drills and things later. And this is one of the fundamental drills so that you can do that. So he strikes again and I pulled forward and we all know when you know you're off center, that's it. This drill is so the puller can recognize when a strike comes and how to pull an arm. And you're going to teach yourself. Again, there's so many ways. He can attack from the top that time and missed. And you can see I'm turning, so I'm allowing the energy coiling to pass by me or through me. And I went from the outside where I'm doing the same thing, and also from the bottom where I'm going to do the same thing, or from the inside and bottom, or anywhere in the entire circumference of his arm where I can make that contact point. And I'm doing one arm to one arm, lead to lead. The next way is for the rear arm. I'm using my lead arm still. He's going to use his rear arm to attack. Now, we're doing this in a way so you can recognize this, or any person can recognize this and understand how the punch or strike is going to look as it comes for you and what you're going to do. There are no set positions for this. You've been practicing the drills, the form, and other things, so you know how to move, and you want to do that while maintaining your ground path. And when that strike comes, you simply extend him out and take him off bounds. Again, this is a moment in time that you're taking out and practicing a particular skill in order that you can overlap with other skills and use when you're fighting or sparring with someone. He strikes again with that rear arm, and it's coming forward, and we're grabbing. He strikes again, and I'm taking down. And you can see I coil in different directions depending on what energy he gives me. That's what arm pulling is all about. You're teaching each other. He's learning how to maintain his ground path and strike with more energy. And he's not trying to take me out. You're going to get faster and faster. He gets faster, I get faster. I want to blend with him, meet him, and go just a little bit more so I can lead that energy he gives me and keep coiling and take control of his center for that brief moment. After that, I can decide to do with his center once I've taken control. This is what it teaches you. It allows you to take control of that opponent's center by arm pulling for that brief moment. After that, it's up to you to do another technique so you can more completely control him. But this is a particular skill right now, arm pulling. He punches with rear arm, and you can see I pulled him right into my shoulder and head. Would have been just a headbutt in there. And we're not working on any other techniques, just basic arm pulling. Make it a game. Make it fun, because that's really what it's supposed to be. You're learning just a particular thing for that brief moment in time during a fight, like, oh, I've got control of the center, what now? You're learning that moment right there. Now, we've learned on lead arm, we learned on rear arm with my lead arm. Now we want to practice where his lead arm is on my rear arm. So he strikes, and I'm pulling. He strikes, pulling. He strikes, pulling. You can see, preferably the elbow is usually the easiest way to go. He strikes again, and again, it's a part. We're not doing any push hands at all. This is visual recognition, structural recognition. I know his right lead, he's in his right lead, one lead, mine in right lead. We're not invading, moving around each other. We're working a particular skill, arm pulling. So he strikes again. He strikes again. And you can see there are various ways. I can go right to it if I recognize it and just pull it, or I can go and then interfere and pull it, or deflect and pull, or deflect up and pull him back, or and simply redirect the force he gives me. Same way with rear arm. He strikes, and I simply pass it by. He strikes, and I pull it down. And I pull it up and move it over. Arm pulling. Now, once you've moved past that, either arm. And I have to decide in that split moment whether I want to do, he can do either arm he wants to, and I have to decide whether I want to use same side, cross side, what I'm going to do with it, the coiling, what ends you're going to have, and how I maintain my root while I try to take control of his center and destroy his root. So. That time I did two hands because it was just right there. So speed it up. Of course, if he speeds it up, more energy, so I get to play with it more, and it's easier for me to just
you start getting tossed around.
yeah. So yeah, that's a dangerous speed up. So start out easy and gentle, just to make that much contact. Just a quick pack, just a quick strike, no damage, but definite dropping a little weight into there, so you know it. Use that kind of contact. Somebody's gonna just jerk you straight behind you, and then you'll be completely off balance and everything else. So yeah, so he was a little faster, so I had to be a little faster, and he fell. See, I'd rather pull him to the inside because it's easier, and I have his outside, and that's usually what's going to happen. But you should experiment with every angle. Some you'll find appeal to you better depending on his structure and yours and your personal techniques or what you like to do. Yeah. And you see that arm pull I just did, it looked strange and unlikely, but it would simply come out. I still had control of his center, and he couldn't do anything. Because remember, we're not stepping. In a fight, you're going to step, he's going to get control and counter. We're not fighting. What we're doing is developing a certain skill that allows you, by arm pulling, to quickly gain control of his center so you can do the next thing that you wish to do to the person using Bagua Kuntao Silat movements. That's what this drill is about. It's a simple, quick skill you're going to learn for a very specific thing, but you're going to see it overlaps with many other things we do.
Either arm.
You know. Yeah. He thought he had me. He touched me, and I just coiled and brought it, kept bringing him through. Same. I just coiled and dissolved and brought it through. You can see that serpentine body I'm talking about, where I'm moving, I just turn and twist and move with it. That's what we're developing. We're issuing strikes. We also do it in reverse. That's also what this pulling helps you develop, is that Bagua Kuntao Silat body while you're performing these techniques. I'm not simply pulling with my forearms and shoulders. I'm pulling with my entire body as one unit. Chinese like to call it as silk reeling when you do it properly. I'm going to issue a video about that, how we do silk reeling in Bagua Kuntao Silat, which goes with the crashing, pulling, and chow chow or bridge hands exercise we do for sensitivity. And when you use proper body movement, silk reeling movement, when you're doing these techniques, and we're doing all of our techniques in Bagua Kuntao Silat, they're far more powerful. And again, he's not moving, he's planted until I gain control of his arm and in his center, and he has to step, or he's just going to
fall down.
Yeah,
Actually trying to hit at this point.
And that's what you should do. The guy needs to want to make contact with you. Moving at a pretty good speed. He's not trying to punch a hole through you, but he's trying to just make that contact, and he's actually speeding up. He's moving about 80–90% speed to do it. And you have to speed up. Yeah. And you have to speed up to, you have to speed up in order to do it, or he's just going to strike you and you're going to move. I felt it. I felt it. You see how he slipped off, but for a brief moment I had him and pulled him enough to take him off balance. Oh. Please like and subscribe. Go to my website, www.popsigong.com. And I hope to see you again soon. Go back and see my basic arm crashing videos, fundamentals of arm crashing, so that you can see the opposite to this. And stay tuned for my next video of chow chow, or bridge hands practice, where we combine many things and I show you the beginnings of our sensitivity drill.